Hello everyone, I welcome all you in this channel. In this video, we are going to explain the poem Ode to the West Wind, which was composed by the famous romantic poet P.B. Shelley. Before explaining the poem, we must know about a little introduction of the poet P.B. Shelley. He was born on August 4, 1792. He was educated at Eton in University College, Oxford. From Oxford, he was sent down in 1811 after circulating a pamphlet on the necessity of atheism. In the same year, he married Harriet Westbrook but separated from her after 3 years of a wandering life. Harriet drowned herself in the Serpentine in 1816. He left England in 1814 with Mary Wollstonecraft and married her in 1816. Shelley published Alastor in 1816. In the same year, began his friendship with Lord Byron. In 1818, Shelley left for Italy. He visited Byron at Venice and in the same year wrote the stanzas written in dejection. And in 1819, he published Peter Bell III, a satire on Wordsworth. At the end of 1819, Shelley moved to Pisa, and it was now that he wrote some of his best known lyrics, including the Ode to the West Wind and To a Skylark. He was a revolutionary poet. He didn't believe in the customs and conventions of the world. Shelley was the singer of the unborn utopia. He was little interested in the past. His eyes were fixed intently on the future. To renovate, to renovate the world, to bring about the golden age was his constant aim. O wind, if winter about the French Revolution and about the West Wind, P.B. Shelley says that, O wind, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? He says in Ode to the West Wind, to this end he pours his fiery eloquence against the kind priest and the state conventions. All these shackles are to be swept away, and new society without class distinction, a governmental machinery is to be reared upon its ruins. The most glowing picture of such a society is presented in his Prometheus Unbound. He was so intentionally preoccupied with the worlds of ideas that his poetry has acquired a visionary vagueness, but it must be admitted that when he so desired, he could rise equal to the demand of the concrete reality as it's witnessed by his sense. The second defect is said to be his obscurity, which makes some of his passages a mere jumble of glittering words and images. But when all has been said and done, the impression remains that Shelley is the great poet of hope, just as Wordsworth is of wisdom. His proper sphere is the world of the spirit. Shelley contributed a new quality to literature, a quality of ideality, freedom, and spiritual audacity. He had a metaphysical bent of mind. He speaks about him. Swinburne speaks of Shelley in the following words: Shelley outsang all poets on record, but some two or three throughout all times. His depths and heights of inner and outer music era are divine as nature's, not sooner exhaustible. So we can say that for the vast majority of his readers, Shelley is and will remain a lyrical poet par excellence. His lyricism is the keynote of his poetry. In him, we have all the requisite of his supreme lyrical genius. Like Byron, Shelley was inspired by the idealism of political action. He died at the age of 30 by drowning in a boat accident. Now, now we will discuss about the introduction of the poem. So, Ode to the West Wind is one of the finest lyrics of Shelley. It was published in 1820. It is a lyric of great complexity. Then the natural pattern of leap could be developed in the first three stanzas anticipates the poet's identification with the unseen but deeply felt presence of the west wind. It represents Shelley as the poet of nature, singer of endless sorrow, and the prophet. In the first three sections of the poem, it vividly shows its activeness on land, in with the west winds, which makes ground for a new revolution. He hopes to bring about a new social order with the help of the west wind. His word sweeps along with the rush of the wind. Metaphor succeed metaphor and simile after simile with the wind rapidity. The poem is an ode composed in the Italian verse form called Teresa Prima. Each stanza is planned like a sonnet containing 14 lines. The lines are iambic pentameters. This poem is one of Shelley's greatest achievements and has a deep human and political interest. He composed this poem after he left England forever. He had been refused the guardianship of his own children from the first wife. Moreover, his ambition to regenerate the society was not fulfilled. Here in this poem, the west wind is the symbol of force and power. Through west wind, the poet describes the through the west wind, the poet describes the effect of the west wind over the earth's sky and the sea, and also he thinks that it reaches out to the whole mankind. So, it is a little introduction of the poet and the poem. Thank you.